Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video using Flair from one of my favorite shops in the whole entire world, A Flair for Buttons. I am working with this photograph of my grandson, one of my most favorite people, and he has become obsessed with these glasses that I call granny glasses. I call them that because I now have to wear them because I'm a little older. And so I know my title from the very beginning is going to be granny glasses. And I chose black because I know from the photograph and then from Flair that I found that I'm going to stick with kind of that teal color and red and black, which is one of my favorite color combinations to work with that doesn't include orange. And so I am cutting out Granny, or I did already cut out Granny twice because I like to have it be a little bit thicker. So I glue two together. The font there is Watermelon Script, which is probably a free font because it's very rare for me to actually buy a font. So I just went ahead and put that in my Silhouette software and put it on, just duplicated it. And I think at the very beginning that I'm going to have Granny at the top and glasses underneath. And these are some of the Flair buttons that I pulled out to use, or to possibly use, and determine what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry for the head in the way there, you're going to see that a few times in this video. I'm going to go ahead and glue together the two pieces of cardstock to make Granny a little bit thicker and stronger. And I am using some paper by Queen & Company. It's called Simple Stripes, is the 6x6 pad. And on one side is like that red stripe with the red and white, or teal and white, or blue and white, or whatever. And then the other side is like two shades of the same color. Excuse me. And then, of course, I went ahead and put some tissue paper behind my photo. Those are kind of things that I just do all of the time. What you're seeing me do now is I'm going through, and you're going to see me do this with this blue tub. I have everything sorted by color. I have color drawers, and I've recently reorganized them, destashed a bit, got rid of some things, and also, I don't know, consolidated some things. And so I found some things as I was doing that I was like, oh, I need to use this stuff up. So I pretty much just got out anything that would work. And you saw me probably get out the green one and the blue one because this aqua teal color, or whatever it is, sometimes I put that color in blue and sometimes I put that color in green when I categorize them. So I always have to look in both. So I should probably give it its own drawer, but I just haven't done that yet. So I went through those drawers and I pulled out everything I could, really, of those two colors that would maybe make sense. And I'm not by any means going to use all of that, but it just kind of gives me choices. When I'm not working with a collection necessarily, that's just a lot of what I do is I go ahead and try to figure out how I want to, what products I want to use, and I end up pulling out a lot more than I end up using. So that, oh yeah, is plastic or acetate of some kind. I don't know what you call it, but it's Heidi Swap. I know that. So I decide not to use black for glasses, and I'm going to use teal. And I actually end up trying a couple different things, but I recently reorganized my alphas into binders. Just makes it a lot easier to find what I need and all of that. And so I trust that you believe me when I say I do know how to spell glasses, but I don't do it correctly right there. So I decided I want these glittery kind of teal letters. Like I see, a lot of the stuff that I'm auditioning here doesn't end up making it on the final layout, but I do use the papers that you see there, which are all from that Queen & Company. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm kind of already changed kind of my basic design. Instead of, I'm going with something a little bit longer here, and I'm trying to decide exactly still how I'm going to do that title. The title really gave me a lot of problems. I knew what I wanted for Flair. I knew what I wanted for colors, but boy, that title just, I went back and forth where to place it, what colors to use, all kinds of things. So I found a bunch of different tabs. I believe these are mostly from L Studio, or, oh, they could be, that's the one problem with organizing things by color. I don't always remember what manufacturer they are. These might actually be Bella Boulevard Illustrated Faith. I can't remember. Anyway, oh, this is something new that I found. I love them. They come in these little containers. They're kind of like Tic Tac. I believe these are called posies, and they look like flowers. They're kind of like enamel dots, but they're not self-adhesive. You have to glue them down. And I'm going to be using red ones and black ones on this layout. As usual, I decided that this one needs to have a border all around the outside, so I grabbed this Chamel paper. It's a whole bunch of cameras. It doesn't end up staying. I can end up switching it after a bit. I decided that I was going to go ahead and do some mixed media on the backgrounds. And originally, when I first started, I was like, I'm just going to use a stencil, so I don't need gesso. So I wasn't going to put gesso on it. And then just now, I decided, oh no, I'm going to put gesso on this, because I kind of forgot that I wasn't going to use the packaging. Usually when I use the packaging technique, I always put gesso on because it's easier to move the paint around. It gives me a good base to work on. It helps with warping when you're going to use a lot of liquid. But I'm not really using a lot of it, so I didn't really need it. But that's okay. It just set me back a little bit time-wise because I end up having to dry it and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Heidi Swapp stencil that I got fairly recently from Paper Issues. And I'm going to use that to kind of make... It's sort of diagonal from the top left to the bottom right, but it's also kind of all over the page. So, but you'll see what I mean, I think, after I do it. So I'm not going to use the full stencil. I'm going to use parts of it. I'm just trying to mask it off here a little bit. I don't want it to be perfect. See how it's not a perfect stencil there? And what I was showing you there is that even though I tried to make it so that I wouldn't have overspray, I had overspray. So I just was like, fine, I'm just going to have overspray, so I'm not going to mask it off anymore. Then I add some splatters, and then I'm going to move into trying to put my layout together. This video is a little bit longer than what I normally do, but I left in a lot of my mistakes because I feel, not mistakes, I left in a lot of my trying to make decisions that I sometimes might take out because I felt like it's really more of a real idea of what my process is when I go through my process. So once I get it all together now, I'm like, I don't want that color in my border now, so I switched to red. So I pulled this paper. It's actually from my Christmas stash. I believe it's LA Studio, and it says fa la 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 along the bottom there, but it doesn't matter. It's the perfect red, and so I'm going to use that. Even though I have a lot of stripes on the layout, I like actually kind of the contrast with the polka dots, and then it also goes with the little posies that I'm going to put on by Queen & Company. And to be honest, the circles also work with the flare. So right down to this, like watch how many times it takes me to just put this down. Good grief. I end up actually, I think, shutting off the camera and actually getting it down. And then one of my most favorite things about the way I've reorganized my office here is that I have put my sewing machine right on my desk. I don't have to move things around. I don't have to stop and pause and go get it and da-da-da-da. It's right there. Perfect. Look at that. Seamless. I love it. Seamless. See what I did there? Oh, lordy. Anyway, so I think this is how it's going to look now. And then I decide, I don't know if I like the teal. You can't really see those teal letters. So I'm going to cut out glasses. And I'm going to use that red polka dot paper that I saved. That was me showing you 3. There will be 3 S's. S's are the hardest thing to cut out this way. And then I decide, oh, that teal's not so bad. And mostly I just decided I liked the teal better. So I would have gone ahead and cut them out if I felt like I really wanted the red. But I ended up liking the way it looks with the teal, so I stuck with that. So now I'm kind of trying to make commitments here and glue and staple things down. You see me reaching back because my sewing machine is back there, and off camera I have already gone ahead and put red thread in my sewing machine because I know I'm going to use that. So every time I need to find a bit of red thread, you're going to see me reach up. I apologize. You're going to see my lovely hair and such. there I go. So I end up putting each of the 3 flare that made the final layout in a little nest of red thread. The one at the top there says Heart This Kid, which goes really nicely with the tabs that have hearts on them. And then the bottom right that I'm working with there is black and white arrows, or white with black arrows, I guess. And then for some reason I pause because I decide I really want to put these cute little posies on there. So I start to scatter those about the page, and that's about how they end up. I change a few things, but not much. I spilled them. Okay, so this last piece of flare, before I put that last piece of flare down, I decide I'm going to go ahead and do my journaling so that I know exactly where I want to put the flare. My journaling says, Little Hunter just could not resist the granny glasses that were hanging around Grandma's neck. And that is so true that day. He just kept grabbing them. I had them on like a lanyard type thing. My daughter B calls them granny glasses if you go into the library. That's how she says it. Because apparently they look like librarian granny glasses or something. So, thus, Granny Glasses was born. And now I'm adding, these are some things that, these are die cuts, like that's arrow, and I think I end up adding a couple others, but they're die cuts that I had cut out previously and ended up not using on a different layout. Okay, so you see that glasses that I have up there on the right side of the oh yeah? Those came on the Simple Stories clear stickers. I think it's Carpe Diem. Comes with the planner stuff, and it said planner nerd. So I cut off planner and cut off nerd and use the glasses. And then I sprinkle a few other things around that say like obsessed, a couple arrows, living the good life, I think. I wanted a little bit more red up there at the top, so I end up putting some of that pattern paper back there and now I'm just going to stitch some red up at the top and at the bottom, and that's about it. I do add some stamps. I believe most of that is off camera, like my date stamp, and then I end up, okay, you see my stamps over there on the left. Right there, I am looking through my cards that I just stamped them all out so I knew what I had. So I was looking through my cards to decide, and I ended up going with Happy Little Moment. And there's a final product. I really like how this turned out. The flare is absolutely perfect for this page. I love that doodle flare. It's one of my favorites, I think. I hope you enjoy this, and come back and see my next layout soon, and make sure you stop over at A Flair for Buttons and see what's going on over there. Thanks. Bye.